Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the sangu kaku. As you can see, it has gone absolutely bonkers with growth. As usual. Haven't really fertilized this one this year at all. I put a little bit of ironite in there and a little bit of pelletized lime, and that's pretty much it. If you look up here, unfortunately the thread graft that we did not take. Luckily, we left it intentionally long in the event that it didn't take, we would have extra options. And we do. We've got one right here that has popped up right where the cut was that we made, and it's completely healed over. The scar marks are almost completely healed over as well, so it's not going to be the best looking tree in the apex portion in leafless phase. But what we need to do today is we need to do some severe branch selection, and we need to shorten these over here. These are almost completely up here at the camera. These are the two shoots on this bottom branch over here that we were left intentionally to grow freely to thicken it up. Now it's thickened up substantially. I don't really want it to thicken up anymore because it's going to be out of shape for the design of the tree. We need to keep it in perspective. It's quite a bit larger than the secondary branch, so now would be the time to get this one in check and remove that branch in order for us to start the ramification process. Same thing goes over here. We cut this one back. It did some back budding. I'm thinking about potentially cutting it back again to the final few branches that we're going to keep on here for the design and start cutting those back as well and working on ramification. It's Memorial Day weekend, and so this is about the time you're going to want to start doing this, as well as if you have a tree that's going to be going into a show or something along those lines. This is about the time you're going to want to do a leaf cut if you want a smaller secondary set of leaves to grow and be set in time for a fall show. So let's go ahead and get started. A couple things that I'm going to want to do initially. We're probably going to do 2 cuts on the large branch. And the reason I say that is because I don't want to take too much off and have it die all the way back, and then we've lost everything that we've gained up here. So to start out, I'm going to take these larger ones off. I'm going to cut them back to here. Remembering this is the maple species, so you always want to leave a nub. But if you can see, this is touching the ground. That's probably 4 foot of growth since spring that this branch is put off. We don't need that anymore. Like I said, we're going to be working on ramification now, so let's go ahead and this one here as well. It's about the same. So between these 2 branches, we've got about 8 foot of growth on that one branch since the initial bud burst this spring. And it has thickened that branch up to about as big around as your index finger. The one on the opposite side that's a little bit higher up is about as big around as a pinky finger. So that's about perfect. Of course, we're going to go around the bottom of this tree and we're going to work from the bottom up. We're going to put the concave cutters away here for a moment, break out the scissors, start getting some stuff established here. We're going to keep some things and not keep others. So first thing I like to do when I'm working down here in these lower quadrants of the tree is I like to, for now I'm going to leave this side, the primary first branch alone. I'm going to work on this second branch up. We've got a lot of growth here. It's kind of exploded at the tip where we cut this off in the spring, and it's going to start developing a reverse taper or an unsightly bulge there. It's actually already started. Not that I was planning on keeping any of that anyway, but for now I think I'm going to keep it this growing season and then eliminate it in the fall so we don't have any really crazy dieback issues. So I'm just going to go around this and cut out what I don't want. Of course, anything growing straight up or straight down needs to be eliminated first. And then anything else from there take care of. course, any suckers, we want to get those out of there as well. And once we've got that done, we look at all the rest of what we have and keep our primaries that we want to keep on the tree. As you can see, it's already starting to thin out pretty quick. Alright, I've got that done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all these branches back to either 1 or 2 sets of leaves per branch area, I guess, per primary, tertiary branch section. So sometimes I like to cut all the way back if I've got some weaker branches down further in the tree that I can cut back to. I'll try to do that. If I've got a set of 3, I like to cut back to 3, meaning if I've got 3 branches growing like this, I'll eliminate the middle one and just have the 2 side ones growing out, which helps with ramification development as well. That one's kind of grown straight up, so I'm going to eliminate it altogether. This here is actually a different branch. It belongs in the back here. It's kind of going pretty crazy. That's this one main branch area here for now. Thinned out, keeping only the branches we anticipate keeping, and then cutting those back to 1 set of leaves and or 2 sets of leaves, depending on where it is and how strong or weak it is. We're just going to continue to do that around the entire tree. Making sure we eliminate any crossing branches. What this will do more than likely is it cause this tree to put out a second flush on these branches here, which is just going to help with more ramification. That's that one. That's that back one. Let's continue around the tree, just kind of working. That at all, so I'm going to eliminate that whole thing because it's got a bunch of crossing branches in the back. I'm just going to keep on doing this, and then when I get a little bit further along to the point where we need to revisit the tree, we'll come back. So I'll see you here in a few. Okay, I think we've got the majority of this sorted now. Now, as you see the tree currently, there's still way too many branches on it and there's still way too much going on. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove that thread graft that failed. And I was looking at it and I know why it failed. It failed because actually, well, I don't know this. I mean, this is all speculation. It failed. What appears to me happened is where the thread graft went through the trunk of the tree, it's dead on the backside. The rest of the branch all the way up is alive. But where it goes through the back of the tree and then comes back up the front where this apex was, it's dead back there. So I think that has possibly something to do with the reason this thing failed. But because of that, we need to get all this wire off of here, because it's not doing us any good anymore, and it will eventually start digging into the bark and creating the problem we had in the first place. It hasn't done that yet, but we don't want that to happen, so we're just going to go ahead and remove it. I'm actually removing that entire branch that I kept there as a thread graft because I wasn't wanting to keep it anyway. And I have another one that grew right next to it. That's a smaller, weaker branch that I'm going to keep. So, if I can get my concave cutters out of here. Yeah, it's just dead and rotten. See here, well, this part was the part that was going through the trunk, and you can see it's dead. This branch started taking off and being a dominant, so I think when that happened it compartmentalized this part that was going through, and that's maybe why it died back. If I had seen these other branches, maybe have kept them cut back, it would have given this leader a chance, but I don't know that for sure. But that's okay, it happens. It's not been the first time, it won't be the last time. If you can, let me zoom into this apical area here. I got a tripod finally, so it's going to be so much easier for me to do these zoom ins and actually get them where I want them to be without too much fuss. Yeah. You can see this was the wire scar that was really bad last year. It's almost completely undetectable now this year. I mean, it's still there and you can still see it, but it's not as pronounced as it was last year. Still not real excited about this kink that we've got going on down here, but beggars can't be choosers at the moment. And I'm going to work with what I have. This branch, potentially apex for next year. That way I can shorten this down a little bit further. Not 100% sure on that though. Let me take you up a little bit higher so you can see what else we got going on up here. Okay. This is the apex that we have this year. Here. It budded out right where I cut it. There's actually two buds that popped up here. One of them was really, really weak, and it died back, and then this one grew. And it only came out with 2 sets of leaves and then stopped. There's no leader that I've cut off of here at all, up here. You still can't see it. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Sorry guys, bear with me here. There you go, yeah, now you can see it. This one came out, split leaves, put out another piece of growth, split leaves, and then stopped growing. So this one right below it here that I've already cut off, as you can see, it came out, split, and just kept taking off. At the time, this thread graft down here was still alive, so I'd cut this one back, and I don't even think this one was out yet, or it had just started popping out, so I left it alone in the event that that thread graft failed, which of course it did. Now, we are very, very congested in this upper portion of this tree, so we're going to need to do some branch selection work on there. So let's go ahead and get started doing that. We've got a lot going on in one singular location. I'm going to start here in the back of the tree because this area here was where that thread graft came from. And I've got some stuff growing straight up and I've got some stuff growing out. I'm going to eliminate everything that's growing straight up right off the bat. So that's that stuff there. I've got some weaker stuff and I've got some stronger stuff because of how high it is in the tree. Of course, apically dominant these trees are. I want to eliminate the strong stuff and keep the weak stuff. That way it's going to be smaller. It's going to be more spindly. I think ultimately it'll make a better choice for as high up on the trees as it is. Go ahead and take these back to one set of leaves. I can get most of this up here with my scissors. Anything that's up here doesn't necessarily have to have anything more than one set of leaves because I don't want to shade out what's below it. And again, I'm just going through here. Anything growing straight upward, we're eliminating. Anything growing straight downward, we're eliminating. Anything that has a long, that really stinks to remove all that. Maybe I can get some back, but anything that's got a long branch junction and then pops off, we're going to take that out as well. Don't need all these branches. Now I'm going to move to the front. Pretty much do the same thing I just did with the back. That's never going to work. Don't want to eliminate that if I can help it, but it's got to go. It's got to go. In favor of this other stuff here that's way better. Kind of let this one get a little bit farther along than I anticipated it getting this year. Didn't really want it to do what it did, but fortunately, life happens. I just got back from Denver. I was out in Denver for a little while for work. Still going through here and eliminating everything down to 1 or 2 sets of leaves. And I'll get a second flush of growth out of this year for sure. Eliminate. These 3 branches here are at the same height as this branch here. And so then we would have that T-bar effect. So that rules out those 3 branches, even though I was wanting to keep one of those to fill in this back area. So I'm going to probably have to keep this upper one here. It grew out. It's not a real strong branch. It grew out, and then the end, for some odd reason, it either got damaged or something and it just died back. I have to kind of keep an eye on it. But where it is on the tree in relation to the rest of the branches, it's in the right, kind of the right spot. It's in the right height range, but not the right spot per se. None of those 3 were. If it would have come out here, maybe we'd have been good. Actually, it's kind of T-bar as well, so you select that one. So now what you've got, you got here, 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 here. We don't really have anything here because there's a scarred area. But we do have one right here. That's a little bit higher, and then we've got this one, of course, in our apex. So if you're following the rules, I guess you could say that goes along with the rules, or the guidelines, I like to call them, because they're not really rules. Rules are meant to be broken. We've got 2 here that grew out of the same spot. Don't need 2, we need 1. So we eliminate that. Now it's just a matter of going around the tree and keeping what we think we're going to need and eliminating what we don't. Get rid of that one, but it's just growing straight up. It's no good. The overall design. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut back to there for now. Alright, that's what we got now. Now that I've got that taken care of, I think you can see where I'm headed now with this tree. What it looks like now isn't necessarily what I'm going with in the final design. It kind of looks like it's triangular at the moment, and that's just because this apex is really tall and long. I kind of want to keep it that way for now, but I'm really going to be more in the rounded canopy style, I guess you could say. More of a naturalistic looking tree. I've got these 2 long ones here, and I was thinking about keeping them long, but I think I'm going to cut them back to about here and here, because I do see buds that are actually popping now, which hopefully that'll help push the energy back down the tree a little bit further. So I do want to cut it back this portion at least considerably shorter eventually. So I'm just going to do this now. I hate that this one right here is growing straight up. Not a whole lot I can do about that. I'm hoping I might be able to get something else to pop in the front side. If not, so be it. we'll have to cut clear back to here and work with this side branch that we have here. It's kind of hiding in the back now. I can bring it forward once that's done. That'll take care of that. I did have some errant ones on the bottom here that popped out like they always do, even though I rubbed all the what I thought I rubbed all the dormant bud sites down here, but of course they're constantly coming out. There's even some more right now that are kind of swelling up and trying to pop out, so I'm just going to go ahead and go around these and rub them up a little bit again. Most of these, even this large wound site back here, is about 50 to 60% covered, so I mean it's doing really well as far as healing is concerned. This one here is 100% healed over. This one up here is about 50-60%. This one here is about 40% and 30%. Had a large one down here. It's 100% healed over. This one here is about 90% healed over. So again, they're all progressing nicely. There's new callus tissue all the way around this, so I'm just going to leave it go. If it starts slowing down and I see that the callus tissue is not really developing real quickly around those sites, what I'll do is I'll go around that area either with an X-Acto knife or a grafting knife and re-wound around that, and that'll jumpstart that callusing again. But I've just got so many wound sites on here that I don't need to do that yet. I'm just trying to let the tree compartmentalize its healing for now. Like I said, I've got two major cuts that are completely 100% healed over, which is great. And then next year I'm going to start doing the whole recallusing thing if I need to help with the healing of the rest of the larger cut sites. Future on this tree. Again, this branch here I want to cut way back in here and then use these back branches here that I have currently for building ramification in this area. This side, similarly, I'm going to eliminate the majority of what you see out here in this outer open area. I need to kind of bring all these back in. By doing what I did now, it's gonna have all the dormant bud sites that are on this tree pop this year, and then I can cut back to those again before fall to help with that whole ramification that I'm trying to accomplish. I'm probably going to need to eliminate this large one in favor of a new branch that's maybe popping down around here. I think there's a couple buds that I see coming out. There's a little teeny weeny bud right down here that's directly below where this branch is. It's basically in the same area as what's there now that's going to be coming out, and I think I'm going to, as soon as I see that coming out, I'm hacking this large one off here because it's starting to get a little bit too big for the area. I needed it there to help with the healing of that big huge cut on the back. So I guess you could say it was a necessary evil at the time. It's pretty much it at this point. Hoping maybe we can get something else to pop up, maybe for an apex. If not, I'm always going to have to kind of live with that little kink up here that I'm not real happy with. But I was trying to eliminate it. It didn't work this year. Maybe next year. There's always next year. Just pushing that cut paste down to kind of lock in that hole where it went out the back side and in the front side, just to eliminate any possible insect infestation. But yeah, that's what we got right now. Brought it back into check. We've eliminated again probably 50-60% of the foliage matter that was on this tree. That's just going to be a constant when you're doing bonsai. Especially when you're in the training stage, and even beyond the training stage, once these are in their final bonsai pots. Every spring you're going to have to just keep cutting back. I kinda, in a way, let it get out of hand a little bit this year, and I kind of intentionally did that for the fact that I needed something good to go on up here at the apex, to create a new apex, number one. And number two, this would be another good potential apex up here, but there's no branching below it to help support it at the moment. But yeah, that's where we are this year so far. Doing real good. Do a quick 360 here so you can see what we got going on. Tons of back branching now. Lots of branching in the back all the way up and down the tree. I'm really happy with the overall foliage amount and branch placement everywhere on the tree, with the exception of the apex, which we can improve as the year goes on. And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.